Welcome to our very first episode of KinFit. I'm Michael.
And I'm Tiffany. This is our little web production. It's going to be based on the latest trends in health, fitness, and of course my favorite, food.
We'll be airing one episode per week. We'll be shooting in various places around Montreal.
And today we are filming in the beautiful Old Port.
So let's get started with Fit News.
So what have you heard lately?
Well, I went over to the Apple site not too long ago, about a month ago, and I noticed that Nike and iPod just got together for a special project. And when I actually read a little bit more about it, you have to buy this little special Nike shoe. You need to have an iPod Nano and an iPod Sport kit. And what happens is that with the Sport kit, it comes with a little transmitter which you insert into the special Nike shoe, a receiver that you put into the iPod Nano.
Okay.
And what happens is that when you're running, the shoe picks up signals, okay, and it sends to the receiver on the iPod Nano the distance you're running, the time that you're running at, and the speed.
Is that all? Because that seems pretty complicated for this big package.
Exactly, that's what I thought so too, but when I read more about it, you can actually upload the music onto your Nano, okay? And you can preset on your Nano, when it reaches a certain distance, it'll play that specific music for you.
Okay, so say I'm running 1K, I get to 1K, and then after my Nano starts to play the music I want because I can't run any further, but this music will get me through it?
It's basically, the music is there to motivate you to run more, okay?
Okay, so this is based on distance, time, or pace, or how is it going?
It could be either, because you can set it at, like after you ran, let's say 1 kilometer, you'll play this specific music.
So the transmitter from my foot is going to measure the distance I run, and after 1K, it'll send to my iPod, this chick ran 1K and needs better music.
That's what the website says. Because so far on the site it says, if you're running at a slow pace and then you pick up the pace, you can have a song, a higher tempo song to go with that faster pace.
Oh, okay, so basically like a self-motivator.
Basically, yeah.
Instead of having to fumble with your iPod and be like, I want this song now because I can't run any faster, it'll just sort of pick up on your feet type thing?
Basically, yeah. And the cool thing, it comes with a little armband where you put your Nano on, so you don't really have to touch it at all. So everything's preset. All
right, so no touching buttons while we run because we know that's really, really annoying.
Exactly.
And how much does a sport kit cost?
The shoe itself, the Nike Plus shoe, ranges from $85 to $110, depending on which type of Nike shoe, because you have Nike Plus and you got the Nike Air Plus. Okay, so it's from $85 to $110. iPod Nano, if you don't have one, it could be from $149 to $249, depending on the space that you buy. 1 gig, 2 gig, 4 gigs. The kit itself is not too expensive. It's only $29 US. But if you don't have any of these three things and you have to buy all three of them together just to go for a run, it can come up to about $300 total.
What if you just needed a new shoe? Could you just buy the shoe without the Nano stuff?
You could buy the shoe without the Nano stuff, but that kind of really defeats the purpose of why you want to buy a Nike Plus shoe.
But I mean, it just has the feature where you can put the transmitter in.
Exactly, yeah.
No, that's still kind of cool. I've never heard of anyone doing that before.
No, Nike's the only company that's partnered up with Apple to do this.
Yeah.
I think it's just a way for them to compete against the Adidas One shoe.
Okay. Sounds pretty cool to me.
Yeah.
Well, who knows?
Well, you can read more about this on the Apple site, or just click onto our website, check our show notes, and we'll have more information there for you.
All right, cool. So what else is up?
Well, not too long ago, I was also surfing the web, and I discovered that there's this thing called My Food Phone. Okay. My Food Phone? Yeah, it's made by this company in Quebec City. Okay, they're called My Food Phone Incorporated. Okay.
Food, I like it.
Yeah. So what you do with this phone is that you take pictures of your food. Okay. And then you send it to a nutritionist or a dietitian. Okay. Back in Quebec City. All right. And what happens is that the dietitian analyzes the picture of what you're eating, sends you feedback. Okay. Really? Yeah. Sends you feedback through your phone, or there's an actual internet site where you can go up to, and it'll have logs for you. And basically, she'll be telling you whether or not your eating is healthy, not healthy, what you should change in your diet. Interesting. So you go to a restaurant, you order something, you're not sure if it's very good for you, so you pull out your phone, I'm assuming your camera phone. Yeah, it's a camera phone. Camera phone, snap a picture of your food, and send it off to a dietitian in Quebec City who sits back, looks at the picture, and basically figures out if you're eating right or not? Yeah, basically if you're eating healthy or not, and there's a She'll send you audio feedback or video feedback.
Okay, and basically tell you more details about what you're eating and stuff?
Right.
Do you have to pay for this?
Yeah, well, according to the website, the service is $9.99 US.
Okay.
But the catch is, it's not offered in Canada yet. Well, I haven't heard about it being offered in Canada.
Well, that's kind of odd seeing as it's based in Quebec City.
Yeah, the company is based in Quebec City, but for the past few years, okay, apparently, well, like the service has been around for 2 years. It's been tested only in the US for the past couple of months.
Okay.
Okay, in only specific states. Okay, I've heard, I think on the website it said New Jersey, New York, and parts of Connecticut.
Okay. So I guess they're doing like a little trial run, and then they're gonna move on to the rest of the US and eventually get to Canada?
Well, that's what they say. Okay, according to the website, it said it should be coming to Canada in this summer. Okay,
Oh.
summer 2006.
Soon.
But I still haven't heard anything about it. The last news I really heard about was in the Gazette. This is the Montreal-based newspaper we have here, and Global TV.
Oh, okay. So they've actually talked about it here.
They've actually talked about here, but they haven't been really publicly advertised.
Okay.
And it's offered through Sprint, okay, in the US. Obviously, we don't have Sprint here in Canada anymore. It's been bought up by Rogers. So whether or not Rogers is going to pick up the service is like up in the air.
Oh, but still, that's pretty cool. You know, you can't bring your dietitian with you, so you just bring your camera phone, snap it, send it off. Well, I hope.
Exactly. It's a little bit.
It's not too bad.
It's pretty convenient, yeah. But the service is $9.99. They haven't really said like how much the phone would cost and all the
Oh, is it a special phone? It's gonna be like a phone shaped like a banana?
Well, no, they actually have. It's actually a standard size phone.
Like a regular phone?
A regular phone, but
Okay.
they really don't give much detail about the phone. Only the service. So I don't know.
I think maybe it doesn't matter then. Just as long as you got a camera and you can like send it off.
Yeah, well, we'll just have to wait to see if it actually comes in Canada.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is fit tip time, and as you can see, it is officially summer, and it's time to break out the sunscreen. So let's get on top of the sunscreen business and see what we have to know here. So first things first, what exactly are we protecting ourselves from? Mainly, it's these crazy UV rays, UVA and UVB. These are the only ones we really need to be worried about because these actually penetrate the ozone layer and hit our skin, causing damage, namely sunburn and skin cancer. So when shopping for sunscreen, make sure that you are looking for on the bottle, it says broad spectrum, which means it covers both UVA and UVB, or otherwise they'll say UVA, UVB protection. Okay, so what are in these sunscreen contraptions that help us to block these UV rays? These contain a combination of an opaque substance that will reflect some of the UV rays, titanium dioxide and zinc oxide, and also an organic chemical that will absorb the UV light, which is mostly oxybenzone. So now, what is this SPF business? Really, it stands for sun protection factor. And basically, the higher the SPF, the more protection it offers against UV rays. In theory now, only in theory, the SPF is actually a multiplier that can be applied to the time taken to burn. So for example, if it takes you 10 minutes to burn, if you apply an SPF 15 sunscreen on, it should take you 150 minutes to burn. But don't forget, this is in theory. This is not taking into account time of day, the kind of clothing you're wearing, skin type you have. So this is just in theory. Now, the UV rays are basically the strongest between of April and August, and especially during the midday hours. So to help you figure out how strong they are, be sure to check your UV report before you leave your house. You can go to your weather network online, and they have a pretty good UV thermometer, and they can tell you how bad it is that day you're going out. So be sure to check it out. In general though, in Canada, the UV index ranges from 0 to 10. 0 to 4 is low. You don't have to worry, not too bad. And I think from 4 to 7 is moderate. So that means it's time, break out the sunglasses and hat, and especially if you are going to be standing outside for longer than 30 minutes. Anything 7 and higher means, okay, really now it's time to be careful, sunscreen time, cover up, seek shade, all this kind of stuff. Okay, and also as a reminder, concrete, sand, water, and snow reflect UV rays up to 85%. So just because you jump in the water doesn't mean you're protected. They still can get to you. So put on your sunscreen. All right, so now oh yes, you thought I forgot about vitamin D, didn't you? I didn't forget. So to make sure we also get enough vitamin D in our day, take a walk, a 15-minute walk or so in the morning or in the evening when the sun is not so strong. And you do this without the sunscreen, and you'll be ensured to get enough of your vitamin D production in the body to guard against the other cancers. All right, so now for proper sunscreen application. Thank you. We have to make sure we have to put it on about 15 or 30 minutes before you go outside. You gotta shake the bottle to make sure that everything is mixed up nicely. You're going to rub it in. And also you're going to put it for your face. You don't put it right onto your face. You rub it into the hands and then you're gonna put it onto your face, okay? And then reapply often, about every 2 hours, they say, especially when the sun is really strong. And for active individuals, you really want to make sure that you get the waterproof or water resistant kind, because you don't want it to wash off. Okay, so you can get this in the nice lotion format or in spray format, which is very convenient as well. You can just spray everywhere and very nice. Okay, so you want to make sure proper sun protection all the time, because these things, they help, but you know, you got to do things to help out everywhere. So you're going to need your shades, hat, and like a little bit of shade, okay? That's basically it. Oh, but one last cool thing, you're gonna surprise people with this one. It turns out that blue clothing is 5 times more effective at absorbing UV light than white clothing, because blue absorbs more light. So there you go, there's your fit tip for this week. All right, so now it is information time. Let's be honest, when you go grocery shopping, how many of you actually read the food labels? Okay, half of you are like, oh, what labels? Starting from 2003, Health Canada had started the food labeling program that features a standardized food label for most foods. Now, the larger food manufacturers had until December 2005 to fix everything, and the smaller food manufacturers have until 2007 to clean up their act. But starting now, it is going to be much easier and much simpler to read a food label, because they all have the same format and same look, no matter if it is a carton of eggs or a box of granola bars. All right, so the rules also say that foods can no longer say low carb or no carb, because that's just bad news, all right? But they will have to state if they contain trans fats, which is very, very good news for us. New rules state that prepackaged foods and drinks must have a nutrition box that will state the total amount of calories and also the 13 very important ingredients, okay? But there are some exceptions to this rule. This is going to be for, say, raw fruits and vegetables and raw meats, just because they don't have some of this stuff, okay? But all in all, everything's going to look similar. It's going to be less complicated to figure out from one product to the next. There's going to be new rules, especially on the wording of health claims on products as well. For example, companies cannot directly link their product to a health benefit, because say, my company is going to reduce your cholesterol intake. They can't say that anymore, but in fact they can say something like, a diet rich in fruits and vegetables can help lower the risk for some cancers. That kind of stuff is allowed. There are also rules for ingredient claims, such as fat-free. When you say fat-free, it also must be accompanied by, says something like low in fat or low fat, and has to contain less than 0.5 grams of fat per 100 grams serving. Okay, so that's going to be very, very tricky, because when it says fat-free, it's not really fat-free. It's probably just really, really, really low fat and maybe fat-free. Okay, same thing goes for cholesterol. If it says low cholesterol or no cholesterol, it's got to be less than 2 milligrams per serving for this to be true. But just on that note, cholesterol free, you know, cholesterol really only comes from animal products. So if it's on like a package of dried fruit and it says cholesterol free raisins, you know, that's great, but you know what, they never had cholesterol to begin with. Okay, so don't be too impressed, because it just didn't have it. All right, in any case, even though they're really simple and really easy to read now, these food labels, they're not foolproof. Okay, so you're gonna have to use a little bit of that grade 7 math that Miss Ansel taught you. Use your brain a little bit, okay, because we're gonna have to need it to figure it out. All right, so in order to read this stuff, let's figure out, for example, if we want to figure out how much fat is in this granola bar, what are we going to do? Okay, you're going to read this label. It's going to say gram of fat per granola bar. Okay? And then you are going to look at, it says daily value of fat. It says 11%. Not be fooled by this 11% because 11% is of the entire day of fat, not just the granola bar. Okay? So how are we going to figure out how much is in the granola bar? Okay, so if your 1 gram of fat is equal to 9 calories, your 7 grams of fat in the granola bar is equal to 63 calories. Okay, so your entire granola bar, 160 calories, your fat, 63 calories. Let's divide the 63 into the 160, and then you get 39% fat for your granola bar. Okay, so 11% for the entire day, which is based on a 2,000 calorie diet. 2,000 calorie intake, okay, per day. And the fat for your granola bar, 39% of your granola bar is the fat. So pretty simple to figure out. You just got to use that little brain of yours, okay? If you want to figure out for carbohydrates and proteins as well, exact same thing. The only thing you substitute is instead of the 9 calories per gram, it is 4 calories per gram. You figure out the exact same way, okay? So what I would like you to do, next time you go grocery shopping, try this out on 1 or 2 items, because you don't want to spend like 6 hours in the grocery store figuring out everything you buy, how much fat and how much carb. No, just try 1 or 2 just for fun to see, and then like that you're gonna figure out really, really quick as you do it more, because you're gonna become so food savvy, all right? So try that out next time, okay? And that will be it for today.
So this wraps up today's episode of KinFit. Hope everybody enjoyed it.
Please come back and check our show notes for anything that you may have missed, websites we mentioned or didn't mention but still think are pretty important.
And if you have any ideas or feedback you want to give us for any future episodes or what we can improve on, you can email us at info@kinfit.tv.
A big thank you goes to Timmy, our cameraman, and my sister Amanda for their wonderful help today.
And we'll see you next time in our second episode of KinFit. Remember, don't quit.
Stay fit.